Right. We've got a special guest coming on. We're going to see if we can make this work. See if I can get him on here. Welcome to this live. Let's see if I can get my friend, Dr. Dispenza, to get on here. And here, okay. Good to see you guys. A lot of people excited about this. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Hey.
The legend.
And no, you're the legend.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Lois.
Are you holding up okay during this time?
Yeah. It's exciting times.
It's exciting. You're creating a lot of content lately, and I'm just going to have a comment here for people to see this while you guys are watching this. If you click this little share button, there's a little airplane below. If you click on that and share this with your friends, if you take a screenshot of this and tag me and Joe during this session, we'll be able to stay connected to you over on Instagram stories. So take a screenshot of us, tag us over on Instagram, and you can go to Dr. Joe's link here that I'll have pinned the whole time. But you've been more busy than ever during this time, creating content, creating meditations, serving people, because people really need your information more than ever now.
Well, I stopped from the life that I was living, and I'm kind of in a new life. And if I'm not creating, then something's wrong. So I just wanted to be able to adapt and give people some tools or resources to apply to their lives. So yeah, I literally just came from the recording studio just now. I just recorded a new meditation, and it was really fun. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it.
If you guys are big fans of Dr. Joe, if you're from my page, leave a yes if you're a big fan of Dr. Joe, if you've heard one of our interviews, if you've seen his content, maybe you follow him on social media. He's got some of the best meditations. I swear, I have so many friends that have heard our interviews and then gone and got your meditations that say they swear by them. Oh. Their whole teams are listening to them, their families. You're truly helping people heal, expand their field around their heart more. So make sure you guys, I'm seeing tons of yeses. I'm not sure if you're seeing the comments here, but make sure you guys get his meditations if you haven't yet. And for people, I'm going to be asking Dr. Joe a few questions during this live. But for anyone that takes a screenshot and tags us over on your Instagram stories, I'm going to pick a few winners over the next 24 hours. I'm going to send a couple copies of my book. I'm going to send a couple copies of Dr. Joe's books as well to people that share this over on your Instagram story and tag both of us. But lots of people from all over the world who love you. And this is your first live, I think, right?
I'm a virgin. I've never done this before. So this is my first time. Yeah.
I love it. And after this, hopefully we'll get you to do more on your own so you can serve people. But I wanted to ask you a question. And again, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you a question, and we just did a full-length interview about a week and a half ago that's been going viral on YouTube and on the podcast. But I wanted to do some follow-up questions because, I just feel like people are still in a lot of pain and trauma and overwhelm, especially if you consume the media and the news. Please stop and minimize that, because I think it only creates more stress. When people say this is going to be the worst week of any week and it's going to be more deaths, like, what can people do in a simple, practical step when they just feel like, man, there's so much in my head right now. What can I do to start to slow down my heart rate just a little bit, to start thinking more calmly and make better decisions?
Yeah, I think that the moment we switch on that system for alert or for emergency, we alter ourselves in some way. And all of that response that we have to an environment that we perceive as threatening or dangerous pretty much causes us to move out of balance. And when you're out of balance, you're in survival. And when you're in survival, you want to rush to get things done. You can't be present. You believe everything that equal to the feeling of fear or hostility, because information is relevant to you in that emotional state. So teaching people then that they have some type of control over that, that sympathetic response, that emergency system that switches on, is preparing you for something you can't predict.
Yeah.
Something that's an unknown, something that you can't control. And that survival system causes us to move more into our animal nature. And we're tapping our body's vital resources for health and regeneration. So short term, it's great, but you keep doing it over and over again, you start becoming more and more conditioned to that rush of energy. So teaching people how to self-regulate, teaching them how to move back into the present moment, teaching them that they can shorten their responses. It's really not that you react. I mean, we all react. The question is, how long are you going to react for? Because if you keep that reaction going, then you can't perceive any change in your environment. You won't have any ability to heal. So you become more affected by your environment. So simple process of getting back into the present moment, self-regulating, trading that fear for some other emotions.
Yeah.
And that's doing the work and
Right.
the practice. And that's what we should be doing, because now we have energy to heal. We have energy for growth and repair. We have energy to create now. And we're not losing energy now. We're gaining energy. And
Yeah.
that signals the immune system, as we talked about. And that's what causes T cells to make antibodies and antigen, the immunoglobulins that fight antigens. And now your internal defense system can take care of the micro world,
Yes.
where there are invaders, where there are attackers, and you have energy to heal. And your immune system, as we said, is always combating viruses and bacteria. And if you're less responsive to your environment emotionally, then you're less responsive to your environment physically, and you have more energy. And people just need to know the information, because that empowers them to begin to make different choices. And now that you know, you can apply knowledge and make a different choice, demonstrate a different behavior, create a new experience, and that new experience creates a new emotion. Wow, then all of a sudden now you start learning new things, and you start stepping away from your old self. And that's what you want people to do. Biology changes.
And creating a new self, stepping away from the old self. We talked about that in our interview. If people want to check out more on that, for those that are just joining us, I'm seeing a lot of people joining and sharing where they're chiming in from. Good to see you all. I saw my friend Darman, a lot of people from all over the world watching this. I want to ask you a couple quick questions. One, before I ask the next question, if you guys click the little airplane button below and you share this on your Instagram story, or if you take a screenshot at any time and you tag me and at Dr. Joe, if you tag us, I'm going to be giving away a couple of copies of my book, a couple of copies of Joe's book to a few winners. I wanted to ask you a personal question, not too personal, but something personal that I don't think we talk about a lot, at least not in interviews that I've seen or that I've done with you. When do you feel the most stressed and overwhelmed? Or are you just like so elevated at this point because you do your work and the meditations daily that nothing affects you? But is there any moments where you're like, you feel trigger, you feel reaction? Because I think people will see you as this incredible leader who's been doing this for decades, and you live the practice, but there's got to be moments you react, right?
Of course. I mean, I react when I see certain people in the world misunderstand this information, or have an interest in trying to attack it in some way,
Take you down, or come after
or
you.
misrepresent, or better yet, misrepresent it. I think I react to that. I mean, of course, I think a good day is, even if you do react, that you make your way back into your heart. If you finish there and you learn your lessons, I think it's a good day. So, I mean, I still get triggered, of course, but I do my best every day to catch myself, and I'm less effective in that state. And I think I've learned through trial and error to self-regulate and get back. It always feels like a better day when I do.
It's hard to make good choices when you come from reaction, fear, anxiety, stress, but you always create more powerful service in the world, from my experience, when your heart is filled with love, peace, and those type of qualities, which you teach about and talk about in your meditations, which I know. If you guys have gone through Dr. Joe's meditations, leave a heart, just comment with a heart to let us know if you have. And his meditations are unbelievable. I want to ask you the next question. When you get to that state of, Dr. Joe, your stuff is horrible, you suck, this is wrong, there's no proof, your science is wrong, whatever people say, how do you get back to your heart, and how long does that usually take for you?
Well, I'm going to answer that on two levels, because I just realized that used to bother me, much more than it does right now, because I actually don't care any longer, that example, because we have so much evidence that actually shows that it does work. So
but let's just say you get frustrated every now and then. How do you, is there like 60-second practice? You're like, okay, I'm aware. Right. Now let me get back to my heart. What is that practice for you personally?
Yeah. So when I do react, though, part two of my answer was that I always take a moment and I step back. I have to disengage from whoever I'm talking to. I have to step away from whatever I'm doing, break my routine, and step away long enough to just remember that I'm disconnecting from the energy that I'm using to create a new future. And I'm back into a familiar energy that's connected to my past. And I've lost my ability to stay connected to it because a circumstance has altered my feelings and my thoughts. So I remember that. That's not a conversation you normally want to have with yourself when you think somebody's doing something to you, right? But I know the alternative just leads to a day that spirals downward. So then I close my eyes, or I step away for a minute, and I just put my attention back in my heart. And the first thing I work on is changing the way I breathe, to become conscious, moving the body out of danger, out of threat, teaching it how it can be safe again, to self-regulate, to slow it down into the present moment and start breathing. And when you slow your breath down, you slow your brain waves down. And when you slow your brain waves down, you're slowing down the system of arousal. And your heart actually influences that. So then once I feel my connection to my heart, then I start thinking about the emotions that I'm using to create that future, whether it's gratitude, whether it's freedom, whether it's awe or the mystical moment or whatever. And I just bring up that energy back into my heart, and I tune in to that energy that I've become familiar with because I do it enough times. And I remember I'm connecting to the energy of my future again. And I can do it sometimes in literally a minute or two.
Yeah.
And sometimes
takes an hour.
It takes me an hour, but I'm going to do my best to get there. And that's the
Yeah. Someone, Allison just posted that she went to your retreat in Sedona earlier this year and said it was life-changing. Someone else said we do your meditations every day. Again, if you're just joining in the last few minutes, Dr. Joe Dispenza in the house. A lot of people say they've seen you a few times in person. They love you in Arizona. Make sure to share the little button below. It's a little airplane. If you click on that, you can share it on your story. If you take a screenshot of this and tag me and Joe, I'm going to send out a couple copies of my book and a couple copies of Joe's book to a couple of people that we choose from that later. You've got some amazing resources on your site, drjoedispenza.com. The next question I have for you is, what is the biggest transformation you've seen someone in your work over the last few decades? You've seen incredible healings within a few days of people on stage you talked about in our interview. You've, probably don't even share a lot of these stories, but what's the one that stands out the most of a massive healing or just transformation from their past self that was hurting them into a new future self that you talk about so much?
God, Lois, there are so many. If you asked me that question like maybe a year or two ago, I probably could have picked from a handful. But, this last year, we have seen so many incredible outcomes, from blind people seeing to deaf people hearing to numerous people with stage 4 cancers go into remission, tumors disappearing on the spinal cord, on the breast and lungs and the brain. We have seen serious conditions, tumors in children disappear. I mean, it's been a crazy time. But I can tell you a quick story about a woman who is a nurse in London, and she had a stroke, and it was right under the optic nerve, and it caused blindness in the left lower quadrant in both eyes, like from like 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. She was clinically blind as a result of the stroke, and she lost her driver's license. She couldn't function as a nurse anymore. She couldn't type, compromised because she was diagnosed as legally blind. So her life changed dramatically, and so she went to all the doctors, and the prognosis is pretty straightforward. If you don't see many changes after 2 weeks, you're probably not going to see many changes after that point. And so a year went by. She was asking all her colleagues. I mean, I think if you want a good doctor, ask a nurse. Nurses know good doctors. And so she went to all the good doctors that she knew. Get used to it. It's probably going to degenerate over as you age. And one of the doctors said, "Hey, why don't you go to this Dispenza event? I'll go with you." So they came. So they did the course, the preliminary course, and they came prepared. And it didn't even occur to her that she wanted to heal her vision. She was more interested in just learning how to cope in her life, and she wanted to start a nonprofit, but she was curious.
Learning how to cope with the vision.
Blindness.
Yeah.
That's what she thought, that she would be a better person. So halfway through the event, it occurs to her, maybe I could heal this thing.
Wow.
And she's in a walking meditation, and she gets lit up and inspired. She goes into the next meditation in the late morning. She finishes the meditation, she lays down, and she has this crackling sound in her brain, and with this kind of temperature change. When she opens her eyes, she has complete recovery.
Wow.
Of her blindness. We have the medical scans to show that the before scan of her eyes is all black between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. The Monday after the event, on the Monday morning, there's not one black spot on the post-scan in either eye. So she had complete recovery, a complete change in
wow. And she
biology.
can still see fine today?
We just saw her in Munich in February. She was one of the volunteers and still doing very well.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Curing blindness, that's another level, man. That's inspiring. I'm reading some of the comments come through here of people who are saying they can't wait till they can get tickets to your next event when they're allowed to get out of this quarantine. Really quick before I ask the next question, if you guys can all type in the thing you're most grateful for today. For me, I talk a lot about gratitude. Dr. Joe, I know for you, gratitude is something that's important to get to that field of energy, of positivity, of love, where you can think clearer. And when we have the right perspective, we can make better decisions. So go ahead and type in what you're most grateful for in the chat box. We'd love to see some of that. And leave a question that you have for Dr. Joe, and I'll try to skim through and see what we have here. Also, if you're just joining, thanks to everyone who's shared this. Click the little airplane button below on the bottom to share this over on your stories to your friends. This will be up for 24 hours so people can watch this later. Seeing a lot of people saying just grateful to be alive, grateful for Dr. Joe, grateful for being healed from Dr. Joe in the past. What the bleep do we know? That was a movie you did, what was that, 10, 15 years ago or something, a documentary?
Yeah, probably a little over 12 years ago.
Wow, it's amazing. Grateful for the feeling of gratitude. Grateful for my son. I think the more we express those things, we get out of that fear state. What does gratitude do for us in replacing that kind of anxiety and fear?
Well, I mean, we've done research on gratitude, and it's very interesting because when you receive something, you've just received something. When something's happening to you or something just happened to you that's favorable, you feel this feeling of gratitude. So yes. The emotional signature, its signature emotionally means something just happened to you or something is happening to you. So your body is so objective that it doesn't know the difference between an experience in your life that creates an emotion and an emotion that you can fabricate by thought alone. To the body, it's so objective, it's exactly the same. So when people start to feel gratitude, their body is believing that something favorable is going to happen to them, that is happening to them, or has already happened to them. So
Really?
the emotional signature of gratitude is the perfect signature or the state of energy to receive. So when we begin to embrace our future and we feel gratitude for it, we will believe that future is more of a reality because it's equal to the emotion that we're experiencing, but we're feeling the emotion before the actual event occurs. So gratitude, in a sense, you could use it to elevate your energy. And when you do just 10, 15 minutes a day, you'll strengthen your immune system by 50%. That's
Wow. Just
research
by having
done.
gratitude for 10, 15 minutes.
Just because your body starts to put energy right in your heart center. And there's a gland in there that we talked about in your show called that gland that has an endocrinological aspect and an immunological aspect. And it begins to signal chemicals that tells your T cells, strengthen. You got energy to like modify and create more receptors for anything coming out. And now your inner environment is doing that, and your T cells make these antibodies, these immunoglobulins that are the body's natural flu shot. It's proteins that protect cells, especially immune cells. And now you have an internal army, an internal order that will be greater than the environment. And now you have strength, you know, and you, from a suggestibility standpoint, you only accept, believe, and surrender to thoughts equal to your emotional state. So if people are in fear, then the information that comes in equal to fear, they will begin to resonate with or relate with because it's equal to that emotion. So they'll accept the information, they'll believe the information, they'll surrender to the information without ever analyzing it. And that programs us into certain limited behaviors. So then when you feel gratitude, the thoughts that you think, the dreams that you create, the behaviors that you demonstrate.
Preach it.
You begin to feel the future. Now something else happens. You start creating a huge change in the information, and you program your autonomic nervous system to program your body to become that future. And people are doing it.
Amazing, man. I've got 3 questions for you that I'm seeing come through that I want to make sure we ask. I want to keep this probably in the next 10 minutes. We'll wrap things up because I want to make sure you got to go create more meditations, content. You got so much going on. If you guys are watching this and enjoying this right now, leave a heart, click the little airplane button below. You can share this on your story and tag me and Dr. Joe. Before I ask these 3 questions, which I think are going to be mind-blowing for people to hear these responses, you just launched some new supplements as well to help people with optimizing their body, their mind. Can you talk about that for a second, just so people are aware of this?
Sure. I mean, I didn't predict any of this global situation going to happen, but I have been working with creating a healthy blend of raw materials that have to do with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and plant-based herbs and formulations to provide the very building blocks of the hormonal centers in our bodies that we bless on a daily basis to create more order and coherence in each one of those individual little brains. And the coherence begins to create more orders or more clear orders to hormonal centers. And so by people doing the blessings and creating this balance, I thought, God, if I provided the raw materials and we had the amino acids that were in the highest concentration in each hormonal center, we can begin to influence or provide the raw materials for people to move back in the balance. So we created this one for the heart center. And because the heart is, has all these functions, we put a lot of the immunoglobulins that are the natural boosters for our immune system to create more inner balance. And then, we do a lot of work with the pineal gland in our community, that radio receiver that connects you to the mystical. So I created the raw materials to create more balance when we go to sleep, if you want to dream and go into restorative sleep. And then maybe something that may empower your pineal gland to get you up and get you going and create the proper amounts of serotonin and some of those excitatory neurotransmitters that keep people awake and focused. So we've got three. The company's called Biosyntropy, and we have three in formulation. So
Yeah,
soon.
I'm seeing someone commented they already have the supplements, so they got them for me already. So where can they go to get that? Is that just at drjoedispenza.com? There's a link where they can get the supplements and order those?
No, the company is called Biosyntropy. Biosyntropy,
Okay.
BIOSYNTROPY.com, and the products are there. Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome. I think there's a link somewhere on your website too that I saw that
There
you
could
can go
be,
there.
yeah.
So if you go to this link here, here's a question that I saw, and I'm seeing people saying they've already got your supplements and they want to get it, so that's going to be awesome for people if they go there. This is a question that I think everyone wants to know the answer to, especially during this time of feeling like there's a lack, feeling like there's a loss, feeling like there's uncertainty around money, around opportunities. Opportunities are dwindling for some people that they're thinking, all these uncertain times. How do we change from having a scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset, especially if the evidence is not showing that we have abundance right now for some people?
Sure. Well, look, this is a tough question to answer, but I'll tell you that for me, I'm going to see this as a great opportunity, brilliantly disguised as an impossible situation, that I'm not going to meet this challenge from the same level of consciousness. We have to go to a greater level of awareness, a greater level of consciousness, and create and invent and figure out new ways to connect and figure out new ways to influence the Earth's field and create new ways to change outcomes in reality. And it's not about one person doing it. It's a new consciousness that must emerge that isn't going to live in fear. Because what we fear, we give power to, we give our attention to. That we don't live as victims to our circumstances, that we create different circumstances. That if you face this present challenge as an opportunity for a greater consciousness to emerge, a collective consciousness that sees behind the illusion of separation, that could connect in a field of information and create one mind, create one heart, and emerge like those birds that all fly in one pattern and fish in one school. You get the appearance that it's a bigger organism because there's no leader in that flock. There's no leader in that school. Everybody's leading. Everybody is demonstrating it. And that's, we have to step up beyond it. And information is causing us to see that maybe governments aren't going to take care of us. And maybe churches are not going to take care of us, or synagogues, or maybe, medicine is not going to take care of us. And maybe all of those things that we've relied on to change our inner state is not going to really, we're not going to really take care of us. At a certain point, we got to take care of us, right?
Dang.
And
preach it, Dr. Joe, preach it.
No, we got to face this. And there's no other alternative.
Yeah.
There isn't another alternative except waiting instead of creating. So maybe it's a time in history that you and I negotiated to be here on some other space and time, and that we're here for an awakening. Let's see what happens if we play that out. And you can't be afraid, and you can't be angry, and you can't be hostile, and you can't be resentful. And that's this consciousness that creates viruses, that creates disease. It's going to be a different frequency. We've got to see it from a different level of mind.
Okay, that question is something I think a lot of people are saying. Thank you for asking. I'm glad you shared that. That's a powerful response. If you're following me and you don't know who Dr. Joe is, you've got a great opportunity to learn, to heal, to take your life to the next level. If you go up here, there should be a little button where you can click on his name. Click on that, follow him. If you're watching right now, we've got 2 more questions. Is that okay? 2 more questions for you, Dr. Joe?
Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm looking at the amount of battery on my assistant phone here. It's like less than 10%.
Okay,
so
we'll be quick. We'll be quick with these 2 questions. Make sure you guys share this below. There's a little button that you can share this out. Tag me, tag Dr. Joe as well, and let us know that you're watching this. This will be up for 24 hours. Okay, this question that someone asked before is about changing your DNA by changing your environment. Is it possible by changing your physical space, the environment you live in or you're surrounded in on a daily basis, that when you change that, your actual physical DNA will change either for the better or for the worse based on the physical environment.
Yeah, it depends on your response to the environment. So you can change everything in your environment, and if you're still unhappy, the unhappiness is the emotion that is the dominant emotion that's keeping certain genes expressed. Your body's believing it's in the same environment because you haven't changed. So, but you put a person in the environment and they're thinking differently, they're acting differently, they're feeling differently, they're changing their state. Yeah, theoretically, you'll begin to express new genes and they'll upregulate and make different proteins. And the problem with some of the placebo studies is that when people healed, 50% of them healed from Parkinson's disease, when they returned back to their lives, all the symptoms came back because they were reacting to the same environment with the same neural circuitry and the same emotional state. And how you think and feel is your state of being. So they return back to their old self again, and the emotion caused them to move back into the same gene expression.
Now, if you have a more positive environment, but you don't shift your mindset around it, you could still be in a negative state physically, even if you have the best views, ocean breeze, living in nature, the most comfortable beds or whatever it is. If you don't change your mindset with the environment, you could be trapped in a prison cell emotionally, essentially. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, there's no new information that's coming in because you're in the same, the same emotion means your body's believing it's in the same environment that's creating the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the environment that signals the gene, but the internal environment of your body is still the environment around the cell. So what signals the gene and the cell is the emotion. So the emotion is information coming through your senses from the environment, and that's what selects and instructs the gene. So then when you select and instruct the gene, you make a new protein. A new protein is the expression of new life. And so the gene begins to upregulate. So, but the person has to stay in that state, in that same emotional state.
Yeah.
So when you begin to marry a clear intention of your future with an elevated emotion, and the emotion that you're creating that future with is greater than the shock or the betrayal of the past, the stronger the emotion you feel, the more you pay attention to whatever you're imagining. And now you're beginning to condition your brain and body into the future. And the stronger the emotion, it's no longer the environment that's signaling the gene. The end product from the experience in the environment is the emotion. And you're signaling the gene ahead of the environment. And you're beginning to change before your wealth comes. You're creating wealth. You're not waiting for your healing to feel gratitude. You're creating health by changing yourself and becoming it.
Creating health by changing yourself. I've got one final question for you. It's really important. Before I ask the question, because I think you have 3% left probably now. If you guys if you're enjoying this live experience, I'm seeing a lot of comments come through here, and you want me to do more with Dr. Joe or for him to do his own lives in the future, because this is his first one, then type in yes if you're getting value from this and you want more from him or more from both of us. Make sure to follow Dr. Joe. There should be a little button up here on your screen of Dr. Joe. If you're not following him yet, go there. Below, I've got a link pinned. If you want to listen to a long-form interview just like this, we just did one about a week and a half ago that's been going viral online. The link is below right there. If you take a screenshot, lewishowes.com/933. And if you want to truly transform your life, you've got to get these meditations that Dr. Joe has. You can go to his website below. There's also a link for the supplements that he's just launching right now on his website that you can get from there. A lot of people say they've already been signing up for it and loving it. Any final thought before I ask you the final question during this first ever live?
Yeah, last final thought. If I cut out, nothing personal. I just ran out of energy.
Okay, last question real quick then. What's the thing you're most proud of lately that you wish more people knew about?
Ooh, gosh. I'm so proud of our community. Because in a time where separation, isolation, lack, quarantine, whatever, could be dividing a community, our community came together in a collective consciousness and wanted to unify. And I'm so proud of us because the people that come to our events, they do the work, and when you start opening your heart and you got enough people doing it, you connect. in that energy. It's love that bonds us. Yeah, I mean, physically and non-locally, right? And our community came together, and rose above the circumstances. So I'm super proud of that, because our community they're my heroes. They're doing the work. Yeah.
Dr. Joe, you're a hero to me and so many people. Thank you for taking the time. Go plug in your battery, recharge, get back to creating, adding value to people. We appreciate you very much, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Lois, I appreciate you very much also.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you. Ciao.
Boom. Guys, if you enjoyed that, make sure to share this below. This will be up for 24 hours. The GOAT, Dr. Joe, is in the house. Share it. Take a screenshot of it and tag me and Dr. Joe on your Instagram story. I'll be giving away a couple copies of my book, and I'll be sending through Amazon a couple copies of Dr. Joe's book as well. Get his meditations. I'm telling you, his meditations will transform your life, will help you reconnect to peace, reconnect to love, reconnect to the greater future of what you want to create for yourself. So check that out. The full interview we did is at lewishowes.com/933. It's been going viral over on YouTube, on the audio platform. So go listen to the full episode and interview, because there was some mind-blowing stuff. If you enjoyed this and you want more of this, a lot of people saying this is incredible. I'll share it right now. If you enjoyed this, go listen to the full interview. It's going to blow your mind. I'll just go through a couple quick questions, as I'm seeing a lot of people still on here. Great IG Live. Keep spreading the good energy. Thank you. Blessings. More and more. Can you buy the meditations alone? Yes. If you go to Dr. Joe's website, you can buy the meditations right there. I've got people that swear by them and say it's really transformed their life. Veronica is saying, I really need those books. Again, you guys can go buy the books on Amazon. If you want to get my book, check out The School of Greatness to really help you craft the game plan and the goal for the vision of your future. You can check out a lot of Dr. Joe's books as well. Go to his website. You'll see all of this information there. Albert in the house. Good to see you, man. Portland, Oregon. Giovanna says his books are awesome. Love you guys as well. How long have you known Dr. Joe? I think it's been 2 years. I've had him on the episode 3 times now. I've had him on an interview 3 times. It's my audience. You guys keep requesting him to come back, and you want more of it. For whatever reason, the stuff we tend to create together just goes viral, and people love it, and we get a lot of good stuff out of it. I think I understand the energy that a lot of people are going through, just because I've been stuck, I've been trapped, felt like I had no way out before, I've felt scarce before, and I've learned through a lot of trial and error on how to create more abundance in my life and find inner peace. And so I think I can relate to what a lot of people are going through, just because I've been there. And so I love diving into Dr. Joe's stuff and just making sure we get good stuff for you guys. So just got the book, Becoming Supernatural. Awesome. His morning meditation healed my frozen shoulder, and I did it at home by myself. There you go. Love your interviews with Dr. Joe. Yes, love your interviews with him. I listened to all of them. Great interviews, said Barry. Thank you. Kenny Hamilton in the house, my man. Hope you're doing well. Yes, again, send this out. Click the little share button. People can watch it from the beginning. And again, if you tag me on your Instagram story at Lewis Howes and tag Dr. Joe as well, I'll pick a few people and I'll send a couple books out of my book, and I'll send a couple books out of Dr. Joe's as well. We want to spread this message far and wide to help heal people, to help give people inspiration, hope, practical tools, and the mindset to take their life to the next level. It's about envisioning your future self, of what you want to become, of where you want to be, and envisioning that, like Dr. Joe says. This is a lot of stuff that, I practice as an athlete, envisioning the end goal, envisioning where I want to be at the end of the season. Think about your life in seasons right now, and where do you want to be at the end of this quarantine time? Where do you want your life to be? Who do you want to become? And what are those things you could be thinking, feeling, and acting on today in this moment to open up that field that Dr. Joe talks about, to create that energy flow where you're allowed to receive more because you're grateful for what you have. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, click the little share button below, tag me and Dr. Joe. listen to the full episode. I'm telling you, it will change the game for you right now. LewisHowes.com/933. Go to drjoedispenza.com for his meditations, his supplements, his books. They're going to change your life. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you. And you know what time it is. It's time to go out there and do something great.